Presented by That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster, this is Shonen Jumping the Gun, the show where we set our sights on the first chapter of a manga and decide if it's a misfire or a bullseye.
Let's see how many rounds are in this magazine.
On today's episode, Brad, it's just time to say it. You and I are polar opposites. Welcome, everybody. I am your North Pole numbskull, Kermit the Grog, here with my stoic South Pole, Isekai Sensei Sama Brad. Brad, how you doing?
It's freezing.
It's freezing up here, too. We are continuing our romance arc. I believe this is number 4, if we're releasing them in proper order, with you and I are polar opposites.
How fitting.
Very fitting.
If you've listened to the last episode.
Yes, some episodes before this. I don't know when this will come out in the lineup, but I'm sure you've run into multiple situations. So, this is one, before we dive into my patented speedrun summary, this one is on Manga Plus, and I believe is also on the Shonen Jump app. I thought it was going to be on the Viz app, but it is not.
So Viz has it. You can find it on their online site. It's, I guess, on the Shonen Jump app.
It's on the Jump app and not the Viz app.
The thing is it's not very much of it. There's a bunch of chapters out, but they're not on Viz.
I want to say Viz has 2 volumes,
I think
maybe?
that's right, yeah. There must be a weird licensing thing.
I never know why certain things aren't. Because Marriage Toxin had that same thing where like Manga Plus had a bunch more chapters of that. These like weird ones that get released in chunks.
Hey, come on our Discord and explain to us how that works.
I would love to know.
Get there before Maxi B does.
Yeah. Yeah, available on Manga Plus, and like the first 2 volumes are up on Jump app, which is where I read it personally. I did learn this was originally a one-shot from January 2021.
That makes sense.
Yes, I have a conversation I have about that when we're done with the summary. And then went full serialized starting May 2022 and is still going. Spoiler alert. I feel like when we're not doing magazine stuff specifically, I don't care about spoiling where it's at. Because some of these we've covered for Romance Arc are done.
A couple already.
Yeah, it's an interesting turn of situation for us. It's nice to have the novelty. And now time for Kermit's speedrun summary. Open on a splash page. How different. Usually we have a page and then the splash page. This is already nice. With our 2 leads, Suzuki and Tani. Suzuki is at her school desk talking about makeup. She leads this into asking Tani about it, who responds with, "How should I know?" which gets Suzuki laughing. Cold as ever, she says. Her friends question her why she keeps asking him random questions he doesn't care about, and she plays dumb, but internally, she has a huge crush on him. He may look plain on the surface, but he's so direct and himself at all times, and that's what makes Tani awesome to her.
Because on the surface, he looks calm and ready.
But what's the next line?
To drop bars. But he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd screams so loud.
Wait, we skipped Mom
There's
Spaghetti.
There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom Spaghetti.
Okay, back to it.
Snap back to reality.
Suzuki is hung up on what other people think of her, and we see her peer pressured into a number of situations. None bad, but all very exhausting. They are polar opposites. Suzuki is ready to head home after school and finds Tani all alone, also getting ready to leave. Heart pounding in her chest, she asks to walk home together. She starts a story about going to Burger King. Wait, I'm sorry, King of Burgers? And how crazy massive this burger was, stopping halfway through to internally freak out over if this story is interesting. I feel you. I feel you deeply. Your feelings I can feel deeply. And then asks if Tani wants to go next time. But quickly JK's out of it. But he says sure. More internal Suzuki freaking out. He'd state how he's feeling, right? What do I say next? Their hands touch. Moment. But then he takes her hand and they walk for a while. It's like a dream. Are my hands sweaty and palms sweaty, Mom Spaghetti? Somebody comes and they unhand before parting ways to their home. Suzuki freaks out for like 4 pages and can't sleep and has to rush to school real quick. Metaphorical toast in her maw and is so late she arrives at lunchtime.
She can't sleep until she sleeps too much.
Yes. One of her male friends asks if she's going out with Tani and that agapacho? This was like the one part of it where it's like, oh, Gazpacho saw you, and I'm like, who's Gazpacho?
I think that's just a person that they know.
I guess, I don't know.
That's how I read it.
Because she was like, who's that? And I'm like, who's that? I'm also confused.
That's that thing that kids do when they're like, they tell you about someone, and you're like, I've never met that person, and they go, oh, right, other people don't know things that I know.
Yeah. That Gazpacho, also the name Gazpacho, because I just want to say Gazpacho. I'm just going to call him Gazpacho. I don't think their name comes up again. Saw them hold hands yesterday. Internal brain deliberations take place, and she blurts out that they aren't going out just as Tani approaches, but it seems like maybe he didn't hear it. Suzuki spends the day freaking out that she hasn't talked to him, but needs to. But in front of everybody? Tani approaches her and says to forget about yesterday and that he's sorry and leaves. Suzuki's friends ask her about Tani again, and she nuts up and says she likes him, which causes the earlier male friend to freak out that he was joking, and now he's a piece of shit who shouldn't have said the things he said.
Poor kid.
I love his reaction, because I've had that of like, oh, fuck, I thought we were joking around. I wasn't trying to be serious. Like, oh, no, I thought we were doing a bit. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, Lolly.
Suzuki goes running out the door to catch up to Tani, vrooming through the hallways. I loved that part so much, where she's like making car noises for some reason.
Oh, and I like that.
It was really adorable.
Like, oh, put on that speed you're well known for. It's like, she's not fast.
She's not fast, but I like that she goes vroom, vrooming through the hallways as we get a piece of Tani's inner monologue. He gave in to temptation, but he's so used to sitting next to her every day and talking, he misses her when she's not there. Suzuki loudly declares that she likes him and apologizes for being lame, and that she wants to spend more time together, and holding hands was so nice. He says he's kind of a dummy and can't keep conversations going, so if she's okay with that, we're good. Suzuki cries, and Tani goes to wipe her tears, looping back to our beginning conversation about makeup. He was listening. That was the first chapter of We Are Polar Opposites. Brad, this manga was really delightful, and I liked it.
Well, I'm glad, because I really liked it too.
Yeah. It's funny. It's charming. I like the art and the design of characters. None of it feels like a power fantasy. This reminds me of Ruri Dragon, actually. It feels very like the way everybody talks and the way things bounce around. Like, I found Suzuki's freaking out like, oh, I feel this. I understand this feeling. I feel it deeply, as stated.
Yeah, I liked I'm totally into the juxtaposition romances like this.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's the calm, cold, person who maybe has like an inner monologue that's like freaking out and everything. But like on the surface, they're like
looks
that.
Calm and ready.
And then you're polar opposite.
Yeah.
So I like that in here they've sort of just distilled that down to its very basis.
But I think they did a good job about fitting together like why.
Yeah.
Because it could be really easy to go like, they like each other, I guess, but like it felt very like, I like that it's the girl. I like that he has like stuff, like he seems like he has more going on than like, I'm the quiet one. And again, my normal gripe with a lot of these of, this is the male power fantasy of like, what if a girl liked me even though I'm socially awkward? But it felt like both of them felt like he was like genuine. He was just like, he was genuinely upfront of like, hi, I'm genuinely bad at conversation. Mm-hmm. Like if you're chill with that, we are good. Like I like that he is straightforward, but not in that like, I tell it like it is. I'll say the shit. And it's like, no, he's not that. He's just doing his thing.
Yeah.
And I love and respect that.
I do think there's a level of protag-kun to him of like standard Japanese male teenager, which is why I'm a little surprised how much he doesn't have. He
has a cool design. I think it's because he's genuinely straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
I guess to an extent. I guess Mob doesn't have that as much. Maybe he reminded me of Mob a little bit as I'm trying to talk about it out loud.
I actually got that,
but he's. I don't know if this was drawn in a like if it didn't have an interesting art style, if I would have not. But like I didn't get a whiff of protag. Like I almost got a whiff, and I felt like it was like no, you feel like you are like the fact that he's just straight up of like. A, it helps that we don't follow him, we follow the girl.
Yeah.
But B, it felt really like the fact that we get that little glimpse of his monologue of like, I've sat next to you every day, like I miss it when you're not there.
Yeah.
And I liked that. He feels less protag-kun and more spectrum-y, and I really dug that. I don't know if that was the intention.
I think that as far as the art style goes, he is drawn very plainly and normally. And like everyone around him has sort of a more dynamic style
Yeah.
to them.
Like Mob, admittedly,
Yeah.
to an extent. I mean, this guy, the whole point is that he speaks his mind more, Tani, but like, yeah, I was charmed by it. I liked the art. I thought it was funny. I already said during the summary, I like that when she goes to run after him, she makes vrooming noises. Like, she can be a goofball sometimes, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that she has both male and female friends. I love how the male friend, like, I said it in the summary, I like how he reacts, because it's like, there were so many times reading this that I felt like I've been there. I felt those things. I've been that person, and that made it very charming. It didn't feel without fingerprints.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff about this chapter that was very refreshing. As someone who reads lots of manga like this, lots of these stories, slice of life romance, just the fact that they're just like right away, they're going, nope, they're going to get together. First chapter, we're going to explore it from there.
Yeah, we're going to figure out, let's learn about each other and figure out if this works.
Yeah.
And I'm compelled to continue.
So, I mean, I thought the premise was refreshing, even though like most of the time you have a juxtaposition between the male and female leads, which is what drives a lot of things normally.
Yeah.
But the way that
we saw that in Sweat and Soap. There's like a very clear, like, one of them's the loud, brash one of them's the more quiet, subdued one.
But the way that we're just going, we're getting this out of the way, first chapter, and then, I mean, I'm assuming they're going to explore more from there. So,
I mean, you know the romance stuff better than I do. Like, what do we do next? What's coming next?
Given the name of the series, I would have to imagine that they're going to continually be in situations where she is this nervous, bubbly mess, and he is calm but forward. And the various situations they find themselves in, there'll be a time when him being calm and straightforward is actually a problem, and she has to come to the rescue.
I like that.
And,
I like the even balance. There'll be times where her being nervous and bubbly is not the right response, and his position works better for the situation.
I imagine there'll be an arc where the student council and the student council president comes into play, and that's going to be a thing because it's always
the student.
The festival, can't wait for the festival arc.
You gotta believe the festival arc.
That's always good. She's gonna wear yukata. Oh, it's is he gonna like it? He always likes it. What are you talking about? Why do they always do that?
You gotta create stakes, I guess. I don't know. I mean, like I said, you know the stuff more. I would say, and this gets some into like my feelings on it then, so I'm getting a little ahead, but like, the one thing that gives me pause is this is a one-shot, which was also the thing that Sweat and Soap had then. It's like, I don't know how much of, like, did we read what was essentially the one-shot or how much it was reworked to make it a serial? So it's like, did we catch the mail truck too soon? Because it's like, that was the thing. It's like Sweat and Soap, you could feel what it was doing in the one-shot first chapter, and then it just sort of, the stuff from that, the stink from that kind of dissipated, and it just turned into regular romance because, like, I don't think the author went into it having a big plan in his head about what it was going to be.
Yeah.
And like in here, I don't know. I feel like I want to keep going. I just got like a little nervous of like how I felt about Sweat and Soap then as I kept going on.
I imagine it's going to be the same thing.
Maybe, but like this feels like it has a different, like this one was funnier. I think of everything we've read, this is the of Romance Arc 1, this was the funniest, and I think that's why I probably liked it the most, because it had that zest that's my flavor of like a relationship without like humor is not a relationship to me, I guess. And like I think that's because it being present here, even if they're not like laughing together at something, that is more just like how I process and pick up on things. So I really liked it. Let's see. What's the new thing I'm trying to do? Something we want less to happen, or we don't want to happen.
Oh. Well, geez. There's nothing about the standard romance rom-com tropes that I don't like. So
yeah. I don't think I have anything really. Like I hope we get to keep spending time with her friend group sometimes.
I really liked the dynamic that she has.
Yeah, it was like that's what's like. It felt. That's why when we really were redragging, it felt real and not just like these are school friends. Beep boop. Here are the caste system.
Yeah, and with Ruri Dragon, there's a lot of sort of the navigation of that social
Oh, yeah,
circle
there's
and
definitely
like who's
navigation to
on
be
the
done.
periphery and like the way that Rory has interactions with all her relationships with everyone. And of course, we didn't get far enough in this to know anything, but I liked that sort of like, oh, they're sort of friends with everybody and they joke around and they have fun, but also they're very supportive of each other.
Yeah, that was also nice. It felt very like lived in a little bit.
Yeah.
It felt dynamic.
That whole thing with that one boy where he was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I didn't know." Like
that was like the most heartwarming moment.
Yeah.
It was really funny and charming.
Because it wasn't like, they just stood up and went, well, then you should go out. It's like he was like legitimately like, oh, I screwed up.
Oh man, it's like, yeah, if that's what you like, go do it. But I'm gonna mostly, yeah, okay. So what you want? What do you think will happen? What you want to happen? What's something that was in this chapter that you want to see in the future?
Was in the chapter?
Was not.
Was not. Okay.
Wasn't.
Need to enunciate.
Yeah. Proper diction.
God, I don't know. This is the kind of series
or
where
like, what do you want to see that we didn't get to see yet here?
The first chapter did such a good job, at least as far as I'm concerned, that I have so much goodwill for it that I'm just like, yeah, you
Just
cook,
do your thing. Don't
you cook however you want. I'm here for it. And like I said, I like all the standard, rom-com tropes. So whatever they do with that. Now, I'd like to see something new and interesting. I do enjoy that as much as I talk about how I like all the standard stuff. I do enjoy new and interesting things. So if they do something new and interesting with it, I just don't know what that might be.
I want to see, I mean, either of them, but I really want to see what Tani is into. I want to see what his hobbies are.
Yeah, you could do something there with like
he's got something going on.
What's he do at home?
Yeah,
because like at school he's very.
Because I don't think he's in clubs.
Yeah,
but he's admittedly there. I think she's there late because she helped all these. Like she did all these things and helped all these people. Because she's leaving, she's like, "Oh, the sports kids are coming in now."
Right.
So I don't know if he had something that was going on that kept him later.
Probably.
So maybe he's in some club. I don't know yet. But like that's a curiosity. Like this is one. This world feels more fleshed out in a like livable way, not in like a freaking high stakes world building way. But like,
oh, I got one for you.
It excites me to know like what weird, like not weird, but like non rom-com standard thing is he going to be into that is just a thing a kid would be into.
This is something I've seen before, but it'll be interesting. There'll be a point where like she gets suspicious of something that he's doing. And she's like, is he hiding something from me? What's going on? And she like has to follow him or something. And it turns out he's like, helping some old people take out their trash or something like that. And then she's going to be like, oh, I was suspicious of you.
He's going to the Psychic Association to work with Reagan about ghost busting with his brain.
That would be quite a twist.
That would be. This is just a secret.
He's actually been an alien the whole time.
We read the one shot. This was actually just Mob Psycho 100. I believe we've covered all of the new little segment bits. So, Brett, how are you feeling about this series?
Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm pretty certain I'm going to read all this. Although, I might have to get a Manga Plus subscription.
You don't need to. You can just. I mean, you could because you've got money that you can do that with. But like, you can read all of it for free. But you better hope you finish every chapter when you start it because you only get one shot at them.
Oh.
One opportunity.
That's never been a problem.
No. My only problem I've had with Manga Plus with that is sometimes it will decide that it when I'm picking a chapter back up that it will load a different chapter instead of the chapter I'm reading, but then the chapter I'm reading that I need to be reading has now been read, so I can't read it. And admittedly, the first time I did that was with Red Cat Ramen, where continuity wasn't the most important, but I could imagine with something like this that was more point to point, that would have been very frustrating. So and that's my gripes with Manga Plus.
I say that, and as I say, please support the official release. As I said, on Viz, there's only like the first 2 volumes.
Yeah.
I know a lot more of it's out than that, and Manga Dex is very respectful of official translations. They link to Manga Plus for this, and they only have the first 3 and last 3 linked.
Interesting. Okay.
So
I mean, I supported the official release by reading on MangaDex without paying for the subscription by seeing a bunch of ads I didn't want to see that made it load
On
poorly.
Manga Plus.
On Manga Plus. What did I say?
Manga Dex.
Okay, yeah, not MangaDex. Manga Plus is what I'm talking about specifically.
If you can get it officially, please do.
Yeah. That's what I did. I used my Shonen Jump subscription to read the first chapter, and then I waited like a good homie for once.
I've been reading a lot of stuff on K-Manga.
I'm excited.
Even though I have to deal with those stupid points.
Stupid ink, stupid keys, stupid whatever.
Tickets.
So with that, would you pay a tenner at Barnes and Noble for the first book?
Off of
probably
this
a $12 because
first
inflation and whatnot.
chapter, I have to say no from the first chapter. But I have a feeling by the time I get 2 or 3 more chapters, I probably would. So maybe I will. Maybe I'll just buy the volumes, because there's a big difference here with Sweat and Soap. I read the first chapter and I was like, I love absolutely everything about this so much, and so I was like, I'm just gonna buy it. With this one, I like what it's doing, but it's not as connected to me as something like Sweat and Soap is, as a old man that I am. I like the school life rom-com stuff. Like I said, Komi Can't Communicate's one of my favorites, but they're not ones that I'm like so attached to that I'm like, I have to purchase something physical for this. But it could be.
I'd buy it. I was really charmed. I don't think I would buy anything more. Now that we've had that thing looming where you just bought all of Sweat and Soap, I feel like that's a new tier level of this conversation. I think I'd buy the first one.
Would you buy
at
the
least.
entire box set?
And then from the first chapter, that's a fun question. I would for Astro Baby, and he's been paying dividends. But back on this, I would fork over the cash to buy this volume to keep reading it. If the subscription didn't work. But I would only do the first one because I learned my lesson with Sweat and Soap of like, if it was originally a one shot, I want to make sure it has legs.
A single volume every few months is not a big deal. No. But considering how many of this are out, in order for me to catch up to it, I'd need to buy a bunch of volumes.
But it does help. I know with you're bad when there's a whole lot of chapters, and buying books piecemeal makes it feel like a lot more approachable of a operation.
And really, that's what I should do. I should buy one
at a time
and read it, and then buy the next one after that.
Yeah,
but Sweat and Soap was done
literally in a box. Well, it was in a box set.
Well, no, it was complete. It's a complete series.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you have to buy all of it at once if you don't want to finish it.
Right, but I guess I do.
OCD says I do.
I got those cool scratch and snick stickers.
Smell a sweaty lady. I don't think it smelled like that, right? Weren't they all really nice?
No. One of the sets was like the soap smells, and then the other one was like the restaurant smells.
Oh, they ever say the sweat smells? But yes, this has been We Are Polar Opposites. Thank you for listening. And Brad, hit me with those plugs.
Well, as always, we want to thank Segoy Mart for partnering with us. In case you don't know what Segoy Mart is by this point, I don't know why you wouldn't, but Segoy Mart's a retailer of Japanese snacks, drinks, toys, and merch. All kinds of stuff you can't get outside Japan. Our listeners can check the link in the description or use code APR15 at checkout to get 15% off your first order. And of course, we want to know what you think, so hit us up on social media, which you can find all the links for on our website, animepodcasterreincarnation.com. We also have posts for every episode that go up there, and you can leave comments. We also have a Discord, so if you don't want to leave a comment, you can come on there and chat with us. We have, episode chats that go up there. So find us there and join the conversation. We also have a Patreon. Our supporters get perks like getting to vote on which series to cover on heroin addiction. There's bonus episodes, and you can also get the high-quality stereo version of the podcast early. Of course, we got to shout out our patrons. At our Reincarnator tier, we've got Cake Dwarf and Moon. In our Commoner tier, we've got Rena and Kill Hour. Thank you so much to all our patrons.
Thank you, everybody, again for listening. Make sure you listen to the other series on our feed. And, oh gosh, Brad, we got to get out of here before our magnet poles connect together. Like that one JoJo's Bizarre Adventure episode.
Jake me.
Okay, Brad, stop. We have 2 episodes to do.
You're the one who's supposed to be thinking. I can sit here
got
and
him
sing
then.
if I want. You didn't say that.
I'm sorry. I have one then. I'm just thinking of our earlier conversation. I just want to call things just you and I are polar opposites. On today's episode, Brad, it's just time to say... Welcome, everybody, to Shonen Jumping the Gun. I am your North Pole numbskull. I'm not Isekai Sensei Sama, that's you. I'm Kermit the Frog.
It feels like it was quick.
I feel like I missed something.
You did the summary. We
did all
talked
this
about
stuff.
it for
We did
a while.
everything.
We didn't have a high noon because we both liked it.
We both liked it. I think we had a good discussion.
Where are we going? And then, would you buy the volume?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's a normal episode, Brad. We haven't had one of those in like a while.
Because you liked it, there wasn't enough to talk about.
What? That's fine. Sometimes it's just nice to have nice things. You gotta have different genres of episodes.
Yeah.
All I can think about is, shoot, what was that? Which stand was that? I don't remember what stand was that. It's when they're in Egypt. It's when old man Joseph and Abdul get stuck together.
It was that one woman who had
incredible,
yeah.
She had the magnet powers and her boobs get big, but it's just a bunch of nuts and bolts coming out, and they get stuck together in even more homoerotic situations than normal for JoJo.
Yeah.